So that's going to be a great project we're doing right now with these watches.
I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, these guys are going to really kick it a bit. So, welcome back to Central Watch. Steve and Will here. First of all, I just want to say to everybody that's been watching, subscribing, we've been getting a ton of positive feedback, and a lot of people are coming to the counter, talking to us in person, saying a lot of great things, how much they're enjoying everything. We've even gotten a couple of comments, you know, on the videos, and some of the comments are really helpful to help us, you know, bring content that you want to see. One guy said, I want to see more of the workings of the watch, more of the actual process. To some people that may be exciting, some people may be a little boring. So keep coming with the comments, and we're going to hope to bring you something very interesting today though.
Yeah, any suggestions, whatever they want to watch, we will do that. Like this time we're going to show you some very cool pieces that we have, that it happens to be, we have 3 of these cool pieces at once. Normally we get one every so often, right, to be repaired,
Sure.
which is these beautiful repeater watches. And this time just happened that we have 3 of them, and it would be good if we can share this with everybody else a little quick. You can take a look of the inner workings of this watch and how they operate.
Yes.
There are half an hour repeaters, there are full hour repeaters, quarter repeaters, minute repeaters, watches that tell you to the minute exactly what the time of the day is when you operate it. And the beautiful thing with these pieces that we have here is that we have one of them that is very rare, right, of course. One of them is a stopwatch, has a one pusher chronograph that you activate the chronograph and stop the chronograph, and on top of that is a repeater watch.
Yeah, I think a couple of them, right, are chronograph. I think these 2
yeah,
are chronos.
But this one is also a one pusher chronograph. It's also a minute repeater. It also displays the day of the week, the month, and the moon,
right,
and the date,
yes,
which is in one piece. It's a very complicated piece of you know, technology, we'll say.
We were just, when we went to the Patek Philippe, did an amazing exhibit. I know it was done in a couple places. Most recently it was done here in New York. It was here for, I think, 2, maybe it was even 3 weeks. And it was just an unbelievable display of, you know, almost everything was Patek, but there were a lot of other watches that were there, even some things I think from like the 16th century, 17th century, really amazing display. But one of the things they had was Henry Graves' watch that was contracted by Patek Philippe to make him a pocket watch that was the most complicated watch during its time. And this watch here resembles a lot of those complications that watch had. That watch, I believe, sold for maybe 15 or 16 million dollars.
Yeah, and we also have the Grand Sonnerie, which is the mother of all repeater watches.
Right.
It's a watch.
Explain to everyone what a Grand Sonnerie is. I'm sure most people don't know.
Well, it's a watch that not only chimes on demand. You know, you activate the repeater and then it's going to chime the time. Grand Sonnerie has that capability, but also it chimes by itself. So if you wind the watch and you have it set on Grand Sonnerie, and the sonnerie is on, every hour is going to tell you what hour it is by itself without you having to activate any levers.
Right.
And it's going to chime the quarter hours. In every quarter of an hour is going to chime the full hour. It's going to tell you exactly what time it is. And it also is a petit sonnerie, which if you don't want to be hearing all the time the watch is displaying the full hour, if you set it on petit sonnerie, it's going to chime only the quarters and the full hour.
Interesting.
And it's still a minute repeater when you do it on demand and you activate it. At any given moment you can activate it and it's going to chime the complete full time.
That's amazing. So this was, the way that somebody was able to design a watch. Like I said, this is from when? What era is this from?
It's from the late 1800s,
wow.
And there was no computer assistant design. There's no footprints to follow. It's just one guy in his shop trying to come up with that. The problem is with these watches is that when these watches have been serviced for so many years, and some parts have been eliminated or maybe broken, and then this watch comes to us for service, and we don't know, there's no technical references or anything to follow to have the watch repaired. And we had to figure out how the watch was supposed to function originally. and then we are able to repair the watch. These watches have been fully serviced.
Right.
We're done with all of them. I don't even want to touch them.
We'll put the gloves on before.
But they're beautiful, beautiful pieces.
Yeah. So the fact, like, just to repeat that, because I'm not sure if everybody really appreciates that when somebody sends a watch like this in to have it serviced, you know, figuring out how it works sometimes is just the first step. Like Will was saying, parts you know, have been eliminated from this watch possibly at some point of its life. Maybe somebody repaired it that should never have touched it and damaged something else.
We get the watch with a broken part, but only half of the part is in there.
Right.
The rest is missing.
Yeah.
So we have to redesign that and have to make that. I would like to open the watches and show you the movements inside, but at this time it's too risky because we already finished the watches and we don't really want to mess with them anymore. I'm sure the owner wouldn't like us to do that. So
unfortunately, we didn't have the camera out in time. Some of these watches were actually here before we started our channel, so we didn't do the actual video of the servicing of these watches. So once again, you know, please always get us your questions. If you want to send the watch like this in, please do. We can do a lot of research for you. We can let you know sometimes the year that the watch was made, things about the movement, and especially when we do a full overhaul for you, a lot of times we'll work together to include that, so you'll know everything about your watch that maybe you inherited from your grandfather or your father and you don't know much about. So anyway, let's play around with these things with the gloves, of course.
yes.
Okay, so let's start with this one. This is the least complicated one we have, right?
Yes, the least complicated, however, is a repeater. It's a quarter repeater, and it's still a one pusher chronograph.
Okay.
So you activate this pusher here, and you have the chronograph running. The same pusher is going to stop the chronograph, and the same pusher is going to reset it back to 0.
Interesting.
And when you activate the repeater, you can see it was 1 hour and 3/4.
That's beautiful.
right?
So just to explain to people, the repeater works which way? It's one hard chime for every
One
hour?
for the hour, and then two.
For every
two
quarter.
different chimes for every quarter.
Okay, and then
Right.
they'll see what a minute repeater is after that?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So now we have here this other beautiful piece, which is one of the most complicated because it has also the same functions. It's a one pusher chronograph. You activate with the same pusher, you stop the chronograph, and with the same pusher, it resets back to 0. You can see the case, how beautiful it is. After all these years, the watch has been in operation.
Beautiful.
Right?
So now we're going to run it so everybody could hear it run.
We can hear it running.
Because this is a minute repeater, right?
We just activate the chronograph, the repeater. I don't know if you can hear those. It's a beautiful watch.
Yes.
Huh? It's a beautiful watch, and it displays the time and it keeps perfect time. And lastly, we want to show you the Grand Sonnerie, which, as we said before, is the mother of all repeater watches.
Right.
This watch, same like others, you can activate the minute repeater on demand, but also this watch chimes on its own. It has two mainsprings. When you wind this watch backwards, you wind the watch. When you go forward, you wind the repeater.
Do most watches of these repeaters that we're fixing have two mainsprings like that?
Yes, but one of them is very small for those watches that they are regular repeaters.
Okay.
Right? You wind the watch every time you operate that little lever. This watch, you wind it in advance. It has a big mainspring just for the repeater because this watch you don't have to activate it. It repeats on its own.
Interesting.
This one is not a chronograph, it's just a repeater, but it's a Grand Sonnerie, Petit Sonnerie, plus minute repeater on demand when you activate its lever.
That was right.
That was
so you
right,
had
right?
the one hard chime for
Yes.
1 o'clock.
Yes.
Then you had the three double
doubles.
chimes, which is 45 minutes.
And then one
it-
single for every minute.
And then it counted 9 more minutes.
Yes, and if we wait, if we just put this watch down and we wait these 5 minutes to elapse,
Right.
when it's 2 o'clock, it's gonna chime on its own. The
Okay,
hour.
but just so everybody could see, there's an on-off switch here which puts the sonnerie portion on and off.
On and off.
And the bottom portion here, maybe they could see it, where you could change it from
Grand Sonnerie to Petit Sonnerie.
Yeah, it's backwards.
And,
yeah.
And this would be a on and off if you want the watch to chime on its own or not. So you could just turn it off simply if you don't want it, and then you would only use it on demand when it's a minute repeater. Now this watch is a minute repeater only when you do it on demand. When it chimes on its own, it's only going to chime the hours and the quarters. At 4:44,
yes.
So we're gonna wait a minute, so you're gonna see how the watch chimes on its own, and that's what makes the watch a Grand Sonnerie. Oh, here it goes. And that's a Grand Sonnerie.
Beautifully done.
Beautiful, eh? It chimes on its own without you having to activate anything, and that's the difference from a regular repeater that you have to activate that lever to make it shine. It's not that often that you see one of these watches in a shop. We are lucky enough that some customers trust us and they send this kind of work here to be done. We normally have other kind of beautiful pieces that we're going to be sharing with you in the future. This was just a little taste. Whenever we find something a little curious, we're going to be making a little video about it.
Yeah. Stay on the journey with us.